Welcome back to Campus Tailgate Podcast. My name is Jake. I am here with Kyle, and we are doing our Week 2 reaction videos. So, crack open a beer, get the flame going on the grill, and let's talk about what happened in Week 2 of college football. We're going to start with the most obvious game, I think, honestly. Texas versus Alabama. And Kyle, I'm going to let you go first because I've got some strong thoughts here. Basically,
Well,
just go ahead, man.
I enjoyed watching this game because it made me a crisp $300. Thank you, Texas and Queen viewers. I appreciate you all very much. But besides that, Alabama, what are y'all doing, man? Like,
It
you
looked
guys gotta
rough, dude.
you guys gotta find a quarterback like that. I
I
don't know
have a
what.
strong take about that one, too, but that's okay.
Like, he cannot throw the ball. His reading on defense was off. He looks like Daniel Jones out there. Like, what's he doing? He can't read a freaking defense. He
Imagine
could
throwing
not.
shade at your own NFL team's quarterback.
I have to right now.
I know, I know, I know.
I'm
They looked
coming
bad.
off. I'm
They
coming
looked
off a
bad.
rough Sunday.
They looked real bad.
Alabama, you guys got to find a quarterback next year. You guys are gonna stay somewhat relevant because you're Alabama, but like, y'all did not look good, man.
Oh man.
Uh,
Okay. I'm gonna start by saying that Alabama's reign of terror is officially over. Obviously, they haven't won a national title in at least a couple years. Georgia's back-to-back champions, but Bama always looked like they could compete. I don't necessarily think it's a Jalen Milroe problem. They have a lack of weapons in their offense. When you have a dual threat quarterback, you need to simplify your offense for the simple fact that Jalen Milroe can run the ball, give him easy 1-2 reads, and if that's not there, take off. Like, we've seen it work so many times in college football. They're trying to overcomplicate it for Jalen Milroe, and that sucks for Jalen Milroe specifically because now everybody thinks he sucks when in reality he probably doesn't suck all that bad. It's just the offense is too complicated at this point in time for Jalen Milroe to run, and Alabama doesn't have the weapons, which is nuts to say. But I said it last year too that their weapons weren't great and Bryce Young bailed them out of a lot of games. Now that you don't have Bryce Young's X factor, it gets a little bit harder. My takeaway from this game is also that Quinn Ewers established himself as a top three quarterback in college football, buddy. Hey, Quinn Ewers
yeah,
established himself as a top three quarterback in college football. I don't care. Quinn
you're
Ewers
not
is
wrong.
that dude.
I
He's
will
that dude.
say, I was very pleasantly surprised at Quinn Ewers on Saturday.
I knew, dude.
I know you knew.
I
I know.
knew. We can
Sorry.
move right into Colorado v. Nebraska, and honestly, Colorado has solidified themselves as a top 20 team in college football. And going into their Oregon game in a couple weeks, they should be 3-0. They should handle Colorado State this week. If you want a little bit of an insight into that, check our video that you're going to be dropping on Friday as we talk about the Week 3 previews. And Shadir Sanders may be a top 5 quarterback in college football. Obviously, there's a lot of competition at the top, but Shadir Sanders has really impressed me. I know that everybody's talking about Coach Prime and Travis Hunter, but for me, the true story has been how good Shadir Sanders has been.
He looked phenomenal. Like if this wasn't the same draft class as Caleb Williams, he could go number one.
I don't think he surpasses Drake May in evaluations, but that's just me.
I think he does it. Just because he seems more mobile to me than Drake May.
Drake May can move, dog. That's disrespectful.
I'm just respecting him.
Drake May's gonna take that personally.
Yes, he's gonna take what
I know that
said.
I know that you're buying into the Colorado hype. I know that you
I
think they're
am.
a college football playoff contender. See Monday's
Sure am.
video. But
Damn straight I do.
if you guys
It's
missed
not
that
just
video, go back and watch our early college football playoff predictions from Monday. But Kyle,
it's not just the Coach Prime hype. It's the talent on the team. Like Shador Sanders, like you said, has been the bright spot of this team. Travis Hunter has been phenomenal, but also
yeah,
their running game has looked. Dylan Edwards has looked great. Anthony
yeah,
Henkerson has looked great. Like they're both averaging just 6.1 and 4.3 yards a carry. Like
that's fair.
they're both doing pretty good.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I mean, again, I buy the Colorado hype. I think they're a top 20 team. I don't think they're quite yet. I mean, they received votes in our top 10 ranking, so they're close to the top 10 at this point. But I don't think they're quite there yet. I need to see them really go up against like an Oregon. If they beat Oregon, I will launch them into the top 5. I will launch them into it.
I can't
But
wait for that.
We can move into Kansas and Illinois, which is a game I didn't think we'd be talking about, to be quite honest with you. But Kansas was up 34-7 at one point in this game. Your boy Jalen Daniels looked really good. And Kansas' running game looks incredible. I think they had one running back over 100 yards on 10 or 12 carries, and then another one at 98 yards on 12 carries. Their running game simply looks ridiculous.
Yeah, Kansas seemed to have it all under control. Their run game just was not. Their run game could not be stopped by Illinois. And then something clicked on Illinois in the second half, and Kansas's defense just.
I mean, they were up 34-7. It really didn't matter at that point.
It just stopped. Yeah.
With like 2 minutes to go in the third, they were up 34-7.
Yeah, but it got interesting.
I know the game ended like 34-23 or something like that, but like, no, it wasn't interesting.
It did get interesting because the defense stopped trying. Like, the offensive job, like if the coach said offense go score a touchdown real quick, they would have. But their job was just to run out the clock.
Yeah,
What they did. The offense wasn't the problem. It's the fact that the defense could not stop.
Well, you think
Illinois was trying.
You think Kansas is a contender in the Big 12 after this, or not?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't. I think they can make some noise, maybe, but like looking ahead at who they'll have to play, like Kansas has to play Texas soon. They'll have to play Oklahoma and Kansas State. Like, I think those are 3 losses minimum for Kansas. Then not to mention
3 losses minimum.
3 losses minimum coming up.
Oh my lord!
They're gonna have to play Iowa State also, which that's a big rivalry game for Kansas, so that could go either way. But so as of now, I'm not sold on Kansas being a contender. not because of the lack of talent on offense, but their defense worries me.
That's fair. Now, I'm taking away a lot more from this Notre Dame NC State game than probably you are. 1, Sam Hartman looks incredible. 2, Notre Dame can run the ball on anybody. 3, Notre Dame is a legitimate contender to make the college football playoff, and I'm not sorry. Sam Hartman threw another 4 touchdowns against a Power 5 opponent, had 286 yards. They also ran the ball for close to 200 yards. Audric Estime had 14 for 134 and 2 TDs, averaging 9.6 a carry. Ridiculous. Holden Stace had 4 for 115 and 2 TDs. I think this Notre Dame team is probably one of the best we've seen in the last decade, and I would not be surprised if they push for the college football playoff.
Yeah, I'm still not fully sold on Notre Dame just because of their opponents the last 3 weeks just haven't wowed me. However, that being said, this past one was it was an amazing win for Sam Hartman. Like, he did look amazing. So
hell yeah, did.
I'm not going to like discredit what he's done because he's looks good. We're going to really see in a couple weeks when they play Ohio State how they really look.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like the first 4 opponents are Navy, Tennessee State, NC State, and Central Michigan. Like, that's a Georgia schedule right now. Like, it's just we're just not there yet. They do have some challenging opponents coming up. Like, they play Ohio State, Duke, USC, Clemson, Pitt. Like, they have a hard schedule coming up. And that's where we'll really see what this Notre Dame team is made of. And I'll probably be biting my tongue soon.
But not going to lie, I think they beat Ohio State. The way that Ohio State has looked in the first couple weeks, I'm not sold, but that's just me.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I think Ohio State is really not good this year.
No, I'm not. I'm not big on Ohio State right now.
I'm pumping the brakes on the Notre Dame hype for right now.
Oh, I'm not. Moving to Utah versus Baylor. Utah without Cam Rising is not impressive. I'm really starting to get down on this Utah team. I'm not gonna lie. I've taken a couple days to get over the fact that, like, yeah, they had a really impressive win against a team I thought was going to be good coming into the year, but Baylor isn't good. They lost to Texas State week 1. Then they go out and lose to a Cam Risingless Utah team who beat Florida, who also may suck this year. I really can't tell whether Florida is good or not. And my takeaway from these games are both of these teams are not as good as we thought they were, especially Utah without Cam Rising. Once Cam Rising comes back, maybe they're a bigger contender than we think they are in the Pac-12. Obviously, they haven't lost yet, so they're still a contender. But they're, including Colorado, like 6 teams in the Pac-12 who I think are better than Utah if Cam Rising doesn't rise to the level of what he was last year.
Yeah, I definitely was wrong on Baylor coming into this year. If you guys didn't see that video, I
Oh
uh,
man,
I said Baylor could be a sleeper in the Big 12.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. So I'm not gonna. I'm gonna take that one on the chin too. I don't think that was just you, buddy.
Um, horrific prediction on my part. I have had worse though, so it's okay.
I've had
Uh,
worse.
um, Sawyer
That's
Robinson
funny.
did not look good, man. Looked pretty rough. Baylor's full team, to be fair, has just not looked good.
No,
Um,
Baylor has looked really bad.
yeah, Baylor's just not all there. Utah, on the other hand, I don't think they're quite as bad as you're saying. I still think they're a top 15, top 10 team. But then without Cam Rising, you can definitely see the offense struggle. And
Yeah,
with
I'm
it,
not.
like without your like key quarterback, you are gonna struggle. It's gonna happen. Like I'm not necessarily gonna go full blown saying they're a bad
I'm
Utah
not
team
saying
this
they're
year.
bad. I just don't think they're as good as we thought they were gonna be. Like I'm very down.
Well, we knew that they weren't gonna be as good without Cam Rising. Like we saw that
No, I
coming.
know, but like I don't know. I'm unless Cam Rising really comes back at like full 100%, which I don't think he will for the first few weeks he plays. Not because Cam Rising isn't good, but because he's coming off a really bad injury that happened at the beginning of the year. It wasn't like it was October of last year. This was in the Rose Bowl in early January. He's had 9 months maximum to recover, so I don't know. I'm just like I'm gonna pump the brakes just because I don't know if Utah's really gonna contend in the Pac-12 this year. Not because of their own fault, but because injuries happen and Cam Rising probably isn't gonna look the same.
It's fair.
Now, let's move to Oregon versus Texas Tech, where I hate the fact that Oregon struggled versus Texas Tech because they should have handled this team that lost to Wyoming pretty handedly. Bo Nix looked really good. Oregon's run game looked like shit. They need to figure out the run game at this point. Some of the staples of the really good Oregon football teams were the fact that they could break big runs whenever they wanted to. Oregon, when they were good, when they were like a college football national title contender, because they haven't really been a college football playoff contender for the most part, had a strong run game, LaMichael James, etc. They also had a quarterback who could run like Bo Nix that supplemented that run game. They need to find that. If they want to really push in the Pac-12, they are going to need to find that run game. That is my takeaway here. Their defense is fine. Tech can put up points. We all knew that. It's fine. But you shouldn't struggle against Texas Tech. You shouldn't. If you're a top five
Not
team in the
not
country, no.
Yeah, not you shouldn't struggle against Texas Tech. Not if you want to be a contender for the college playoff. Not if you want to be a contender for the Pac-12 championship, the last Pac-12 championship. Which, when we talk about the next one, I'm gonna go off on the Pac-12, because it's absolutely devastating when we get to the next matchup.
Oh
But
yeah.
but for the moment, speaking of Oregon, thank you to their defense for covering the spread on the last 2 minutes of not even the last what 10 seconds of the game. Is
Something
that when
like that.
absolutely ridiculous for those sports bettors out there. The spread on the game was 7.5 Oregon, and thank you Oregon for doing that the last second there with that fumble recovery touchdown. That was great.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord. let's
Loved
talk
it.
about let's talk about Washington State and Wisconsin. Um, Washington State may have just solidified the Pac-12 as the best conference in football. They beat a top 25 Big Ten team, and honestly, I think it was personal for Washington State. Their coach said it after the game. They belong in the Power Five. They're a Power Five school. Cam Ward looked really good. Wisconsin looked really bad. Um, my other takeaway from this is that Wisconsin isn't ready to compete with the big dogs in the Big Ten. The Penn States, the Ohio States, and the Michigans of the world. Wisconsin is not ready to compete with them. If you can't beat Washington State, you're not going to hang with any of those guys. Like, you're not. You may beat Iowa, you may still win your division, but when it comes down to it, when you get to the Big Ten title game, you're going to get smacked by a brick wall of one of those three teams. And I mean, I had Wisconsin as a sleeper, like to win the Big Ten. I thought they were going to win the Big Ten, so this is kind of disappointing. And the Pac-12 is the best conference in college football right now. The SEC is what 2-4 or something stupid against in non-conference Power 5 games. The Pac-12 is essentially undefeated.
The Pac-12,
I think they're like 21-3.
The Pac-12 needs to figure their shit out, man.
The Pac-12 is not gonna figure their shit out. It's done. It's over.
What the hell are you guys doing that you let this happen? You let poor little old Washington State come out here and be the next powerhouse of this conference? What are y'all doing? Washington State's literally going to be ruling this conference for decades.
Hey. Oregon State's still around. We're
going to be releasing a video on our thoughts of the whole Pac-12 situation
next week.
Sometime next week. We will be releasing it, so stay tuned for that. For those that don't know, look it up. Just look up Pac-12. You'll see articles on it. It's all over the news.
We wanted to let the whole legal situation play out. We're gonna talk about the injunction that happened the other day. We're gonna talk about how the Pac-12 should react, or the Pac-2 really should react to the conference realignment stuff. Make sure to check that out next week. But honestly, I just think it's a shame that the Pac-12 is so damn good and we're only gonna see it once.
Yeah,
because everybody else is gone. Like
this is the best I think we have seen the Pac-12 in a long time.
Decades. Like
and it's not going to exist anymore. What are you doing?
Like the last time the Pac-12 was this good, USC had Reggie Bush playing running back.
Like Pac-12 has not been this talented. From like every team, like every school has a legit chance to maybe win.
There's like 7 or 8 of them, yeah.
Like every school has a chance. Like even Cal and Stanford, who really aren't going to be great, but they still have a chance to make noise. They could win a couple.
I don't know. Stanford got smacked by USC, but that's a different story.
Like I said, win a couple games here and there.
You're not playing with USC. It's fine.
Give the Pac-12 some love. Pac-12, y'all should be embarrassed. What the hell? Whoever is your like commissioner person who couldn't negotiate a TV deal,
he got fired. He's done. He's gone.
Yeah, he's a moron, and no one should ever hire him. He's an idiot.
Bro, you want to know what's the worst part? Is that he was too busy in Montana yesterday to be in court. He was too busy.
What the hell are you doing in Montana?
What are you
doing?
He's recruiting Montana State, bro. Sneak peek to what I'm gonna say next week, but
he's recruiting
State. Oh
There's
man,
nothing to do in Montana.
It's such a shame, dude. How did a bad TV deal ruin the Pac-12? I can't. Okay, let's move to a different matchup, different cross-conference matchup. Ole Miss and Tulane. I'm not gonna overreact on Tulane's side. They had a backup quarterback. I think they're still pretty good, which is funny because I really didn't think they were going to be all that much coming into the year. Ole Miss is a top 20 team. That is solidified. They beat Tulane 38-20, 37-20. I forget exactly what the final score was there.
37-20.
37-20. They looked good. Lane Kiffin has them buzzing. Jackson Dart looks pretty good. I don't think they're going to be like anything special in the SEC, but they can make some noise. Tulane, on the other hand, once you get your quarterback back, you'll be fine. Don't overreact to losing to Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss looked pretty good. I think they may be sneaky in the SEC West, considering how Alabama's looking, and considering how Texas A&M is looking, and LSU is looking.
We'll talk about the Aggies in a minute.
No, but Ole Miss could be sneaky here. They're officially on my Georgia Bulldogs fandom radar. They are officially on my radar to keep an eye out. But besides that, Jackson Dart did look pretty good. He had 2 touchdowns thrown, 267. He looks pretty good.
Not a top 10 quarterback, but he's looking solid.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about another SEC's team here. The A&M boys. First of all, Miami stomped you. It wasn't close. Second, Jimbo Fisher needs to take some damn responsibility for not being able to coach. Like, actually, he needs to take some responsibility for not being able to adapt and get this Texas A&M team with all the talent in the world ready to play football. He does a great job recruiting, but God, is the product on the field bad. And he swindled A&M because he's got a large ass buyout in his contract and they can't fire him except for cause without paying like 75 million fucking dollars. But you have all the resources in the world. Texas A&M's donors, basically since Johnny Manziel has been there, are some of the best in the entire country. Texas A&M has an unlimited recruiting budget to work with. And this is the fucking product you put on the field? Jimbo Fisher, do better. That's all I have to say about it. You have all the talent in the world. Be a better coach. Take some responsibility for how bad your team is.
So I'm laughing at Texas A&M because that is hilarious how bad they are in the field, considering they shouldn't be. But I do want to mention how good Miami is, and now Miami could be a sneaky little son of a bitch in the
ACC. Yeah. I'm focusing more on A&M. Please focus on some of the good things that Miami did.
Tyler Van Dyke, 5 touchdowns, threw for 374.
Finally looks returned to form.
He looked pretty damn good. Their run game doesn't really exist, but that doesn't matter. That does not matter when you could throw the ball and have 4 receivers over 50 yards, including Xavier Restrepo, 126 receiving game. Still didn't even catch a touchdown after that. There should have been one where he did catch it. I don't know if they. Yeah. I don't remember if they called a flag on that play, but he got tugged a little bit and then underran the ball. I can't remember from if they threw a flag on that play or not. But besides the point,
yeah.
Jacoby George, he has some hands on him. He looked good, catching 3 touchdowns and had 96 receiving yards, 94 receiving yards, something like that. Miami's receiving game, phenomenal. Run game needs a little bit of work. When you have an easy ass schedule coming up,
yeah, they don't really play anybody, right?
You only have to play North Carolina and Clemson. Oh, and Florida State. I missed that one.
Okay. So they'll be 10-2 because Clemson's not really good. Got it.
Yeah, 10-2. Pretty good. That's you can
solid.
You can fight for an ACC title with that. May not fight for the college playoff, but you can fight for an ACC title with that.
You could. Again, I'm glad you're focusing on Miami because I'm really disappointed in A&M. Really disappointed in them. So we're going to move to the last game we're going to talk about, which is James Madison versus UVA. And my reaction is, James Madison is here to stay, baby. Let's go. Yeah, people thought I was nuts when I said they were going to win the Sun Belt, but here we go. I still can't figure out how they're good, to be quite honest with you, outside of, like, balance. Because, honestly, they don't particularly throw the ball well, they don't particularly run the ball incredibly, and they don't particularly play great defense. But they continue to win, and that is all that matters.
The Fun Belt, baby, remains fun. I love the Fun Belt and watching those games because they somehow find ways. They somehow always find ways.
Like, I cannot figure out how James Madison is good at football.
I know I predicted Troy was going to win the Sun Belt, so
yeah.
I didn't disagree with you with James Madison, so I'll take a little pat on the back for not disagreeing with you. I'll take that credit. Virginia, on the other hand, what are y'all doing, man?
No, that's the thing, though. Like, I'm going to pull up the box score real quick.
Virginia doesn't look bad.
No, they're not bad. But, like, you look at James Madison, they threw for 228 yards, which isn't, like, abnormal. Okay, cool. They ran the ball pretty efficiently for the most part. Like, they ran it well over 30 times. I think it's 33 times for, like, 150-ish yards. So about 5 yards a clip, which is cool. One of their running backs averaged 10 yards a carry. But, like, they don't do anything absolutely exceptional. Which, for whatever reason, they continue to win, man. Like, it baffles me.
Yeah, James Mattis. The Dukes are gonna be interesting. I don't think they'll win next week, to be honest.
Who do they play next
But
week?
they play Troy next week, so that will be an interesting matchup. And Troy's loss comes against Kansas State, so like
Yeah, we thought Troy was going to be good. I mean,
they still can be. They only have that's their only ranked opponent, and they already lost to. So they're gonna be 11-1.
you're just assuming they're going to win every game for the rest of the year.
Absolutely, I am.
I hope James Madison kicks their ass.
If James Madison wins next week,
I'll be
shut up.
reeling. I will be
I will
reeling.
shut up. I don't think so, but I will shut up. But
No, I'm fine with that. I like it. I like it. On that note, I
anything
mean,
else?
is there any other game you want to talk about? I mean, we could briefly mention UNC versus Appalachian State, but we mentioned it on our Twitter recaps for the week. Appalachian State will always be spoiler to a team that you think is really good at the beginning of the year, and UNC got out of it by Drake May's golden arm. But
Yeah, Appalachian State came so close to being spoiler here.
yeah,
So close.
very close. I was not happy. Also, I'm very mad at Wisconsin for fucking up an 11-team parlay. It was the only one I got wrong. I'm so mad.
Never discredit a Pac-12 team, baby. Apparently,
It doesn't matter. But all right, on that note, I mean, I'm set on week 2 recap. If there's any game that we didn't cover that you thought we should have, leave a comment. Tell us what we did right. Tell us what we did wrong. Make sure to go follow all our socials. You see them on the screen now. Click the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And on that note, peace.